Hello and welcome everybody from Stuttgart, the capital city of the German state Baden-Württemberg. Before we'll visit the main sightseeing attractions of this beautiful city, I want to tell you some interesting information about it. 635,000 people are living here, and because of that Stuttgart is the sixth most populous city of Germany. But if we consider the whole administrative area of Stuttgart, then we can find here 2.8 million people. And if we go even further and we consider the whole metropolitan area of Stuttgart, then we can find 5.5 million inhabitants, and thus the Stuttgart metropolitan area is the third largest metropolitan area of Germany. Stuttgart is unusual in the scheme of the German cities. It spreads across a variety of hills, valleys and parks, especially around the Neckar river, which flows across the city, and around the Stuttgart basin. So if we want to visit the whole city, we should prepare that we should climb up and climb down. And some locals also call the city very funny way as the Beverly Hills of Germany, Deutschland's Beverly Hills. Karl Benz was a German engine designer and automotive engineer, and he invented here in Stuttgart in 1885 the first modern practical automobile, which was also put in a serious production, called Benz patent motor car. And well, because of this, Stuttgart is also nicknamed as the cradle of the automobile, and in German it is called Autohauptstadt, which means the capital city of cars. So yeah, Stuttgart has many interesting nicknames. It also has a slogan, which is Stuttgart offers you more. And well, what I wanted to say that in Stuttgart you can find the headquarters of Mercedes-Benz and Porsche, but not only the offices, but also some museums are located here. So if you travel to this city, then these museums are must-visit locations, even if you are not a car lover, because Stuttgart is very famous about car engineering. Since the 7th millennium before the current era, the Stuttgart area has been an important agricultural area and has been a host of various cultures seeking for the rich soil of the Neckar Valley. In 83, after the current era, the Roman Empire conquered this area, and at the current Bad Cannstatt they constructed a massive castrum, massive fortification, and thus this settlement became a regional center for centuries. Liudolf, Duke of Swabia, decided in 950 that he needs a new stud farm for his war horses, and this is how he established a new farm, a new park, and it became a new settlement called Stuttgarten. Stuttgarten means in Old High German stud farm. So this is actually how Stuttgart was established. Absolutely funny and crazy story that it was a stud farm back at that time, and Stuttgarten means a stud farm in Old High German language. Back that time this settlement was part of the Holy Roman Empire, and the first written mention dates back to 1108, when it is stated that people came here for viticulture next to the stud farm. And well, the settlement was still largely overshadowed by the nearby Bad Cannstatt, because that was at the crossroad of many medieval trading routes. The town grew steadily, and it was granted a charter in 1320, so this is the year when Stuttgart became a city. The fortune of Stuttgart came with the House of Württemberg, because they made the city the capital of their county, duchy and kingdom later, from the 15th century until 1918. During the Second World War in 1944, the city was entirely in ruins after the bombings of the Allied forces, especially on the night of the 12th September of 1944. 184,000 bombs were dropped by the British Royal Air Force, killing approximately 1,000 people, and the entire city center was leveled. It was completely in ruins. The French 5th Armored Division captured Stuttgart, encountering less resistance on the 21st April of 1945. They forcefully quartered their troops to the remaining houses, and rapes often occurred. More than 1,300 local women were raped by the French soldiers, and residents were rationed poorly. So this led to the so-called Stuttgart crisis after the Second World War. Even the White House heard about it, and US President Harry Truman tried to talk with Charles de Gaulle, but this was unsuccessful. Only after Germany was divided into many parts, this situation got better, after Stuttgart was put in the American occupation zone. In 1948, Stuttgart applied to become the capital city of the newly forming country, West Germany, and Stuttgart was a very serious candidate along Frankfurt, Bonn and Kassel, but in the end Bonn was chosen after West Germany was established on the 23rd May of 1949. The city's population was halved by the Second World War, but after the war the population was growing very fast again, because some German refugees came from the Soviet occupation territories, where the Russians exiled them, and also some of them escaped labor camps in the Soviet Union. So first of all, some German refugees came to Stuttgart, and after some economic migrants came to the city, because they heard about the Wirtschaftswunder. What is that? That was the economical surprise, economical wonder of the Rhine area, and also of the area of Stuttgart, because the Germans reconstructed the buildings very fast after the World War, and they also experienced a large economic growth. So a lot of workers came from Yugoslavia, Turkey, Italy and Greece. So the population reached its peak in 1962 already, when 640,000 people were living in Stuttgart, and that was a new record back at that time. Since the Second World War, American soldiers are stationing in Stuttgart. They reached the peak time during the Cold War, when 45,000 American soldiers stationed here at 40 installations. And it's very interesting fact that even nowadays approximately 10,000 American soldiers are stationing at 10 installations. Stuttgart is very famous for its high-tech industry. Many big companies have their headquarters or their complete world here in Stuttgart. These are IBM, Hewlett-Packard, Sika AG, McKesson, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche and Robert Bosch, and of course many others. Stuttgart is also a financial center of Germany. The Stuttgart Stock Exchange is the second largest of the country after Frankfurt, and the Landesbank Baden-Württemberg is the largest regional bank of Germany. I already told you in a previous vlog that Germany is split in more states, and now we are in Stuttgart, which is in the state of Baden-Württemberg. So this is the bank of the state Baden-Württemberg, and the largest bank of all states. This is how you can understand this title, that the largest Landesbank is located here in Stuttgart. Schwaben Metropole is also a name of Stuttgart. it means the Swabian metropolis, because Stuttgart, it is considered the center of Swabia. Well, Swabian people also speak German, but with a dialect, so it could be hard to understand them if you speak Hochdeutsch, the literature German. So yeah, they say, for example, ich heiße, but well, I'm not an expert, so I will not enter in details. But also interesting fact that 30% of the residents of Stuttgart have immigrant background, so we cannot say that well, Stuttgart now is still like 100% Swabian. There are too many diesel-run automobiles in Stuttgart, and the city is ranked as the worst air quality city of Germany. So yes, air pollution is a big problem here. As a tourist, we can just go out to some parks to have some fresh air. That's the only choice we have. Stuttgart was named many times as the world's least stressful city. Rankings were based on the amount of green spaces, parks, family purchase power, and mental health of the citizens. So yeah, Stuttgart was leading this ranking, and it is very interesting that in the top 10 there were 4 German cities: Stuttgart, Hanover, Munich and Hamburg. The last day of the week, Sunday, means no work in Stuttgart and in the state of Baden-Württemberg, so absolutely nothing is open. If you are coming here as a tourist on Sunday, then you should prepare yourself, because supermarkets, cafes, shops, restaurants are all closed. I came here sometimes for work, and I could buy some Coca-Cola or water at the gas station, because absolutely everything was closed. So yeah, this is very important to consider if you plan a trip to this German city. Well, these were the interesting facts about Stuttgart and about the history of its city. Now let's start our sightseeing tour. We start our sightseeing tour with the city center, and this is the Königstrasse, a very famous shopping street of Stuttgart. But it is not only in Stuttgart very well known, but also in Germany. Even inland tourists come here for shopping. It's very famous in Germany. You can find here many outlets, shopping options, cafes, restaurants, boutiques, everything, all leisure options. So Königstrasse is very famous. It is 1.2 kilometers long. It starts from the main station of Stuttgart Hauptbahnhof, and it leads us across the heart of the city. So actually now I'm walking from the main station towards the city center, and we'll arrive to the biggest square of the city, which is Schlossplatz. Yes, the European Championship takes place now, so it is the 21st June of 2024. This is the reason I'm in Stuttgart. So it is a very long shopping street, the Königstrasse. The lower part of the Königstrasse, up as far as the Schlossplatz, the Palace Square, was laid out at the beginning of the 19th century during the reign of Friedrich, the first king of Württemberg, when he moved the royal stables and Eberhardskirche here from Solitude Palace. The start of the pedestrian precinct, where Stuttgart Marketing GmbH's I-Punkt Tourist Information Center is now located, was once the site of the Königtor or King's Gate, before its remains were demolished in 1922. For the 1977 National Gardening Exhibition, the approximately 400 meters of the lower Königstrasse were redesigned as a pedestrian precinct with fountains, trees, kiosks and playground equipment by the Stuttgart architect's office Benisch. So now we are arriving to the fan zone of the European Championship at the Palace Square, the Schlossplatz. The Königsbau is one of the formative buildings of the Stuttgart's Schlossplatz Castle Square. It forms the northwest end of the square and is mainly home to shops and cafes. Since April 2006, the Königsbau Passagen, the 45,000 square meter retail and commercial building, has been attached to the rear of the Königsbau. The Königsbau was built between 1856 and 1860 by order of King Wilhelm I in late classicist style as a business, concert and ballhouse. The royal court architect Christian Friedrich von Linz, together with architect Johann Michael Knapp, were awarded the building contract. It is characterized by a colonnade consisting of 34 columns, 135 meters long. Inside there were already at the time restaurants and large rooms used for various celebrations and events. During World War II, the Königsbau was severely damaged, and in 1958 and 1959 it was rebuilt at a cost of the equivalent of 4 million euro. Unfortunately it is raining, so it will be a little hard to do the sightseeing tour, but I will not give up, so let's continue. So this is the Schlossplatz, the castle square, the largest square in Stuttgart Mitte, in the city center of Stuttgart. It is home to the Neues Schloss, to the new castle, which was built between 1746 and 1807. It will be a little bit hard to show the castle, which is absolutely huge and a very beautiful Baroque castle. It is covered now by a very huge screen, because at the Schlossplatz we can find the fan zone. This fan zone is a public viewing zone where you can watch the games of the European Football Championship. From its construction until the mid-1800s, it was used as a military parade ground and not open to general public use. The Neues Schloss Palace and grounds have been public property since 1918. Every year the Schlossplatz is home to major outdoor events such as open-air concerts, children's fairs and parts of the Christmas market. including an outdoor ice rink. Stuttgart's Palace Square is the vibrant heart of the city, but at the same time it's a place to linger within easy walking distance of many of the city's attractions. So the new palace, in German Neues Schloss, is an 18th century Baroque palace, and it is one of the largest city palaces built in southern Germany. Once a historic residence of the kings of Württemberg, the new palace derives its name from its commissioning by Duke Karl Eugen of Württemberg to replace the old castle in the early years of his reign. On the 3rd September of 1746, the cornerstone was laid under the new palace's first builder-master, Leopold Matteo Retti, whose uncle Donato Giuseppe Frisoni had worked on the Ludwigsburg Palace. After Retti's death, construction of the palace fell to Parisian architect Philippe de la Guépie, a friend of Retti. A connoisseur of the modern architectural theory, Philippe was inspired by his time in his native France, and especially the magnificent palace of Versailles, and took the palace in this direction. In the World War II air raids on the 21st February of 1944, the Neues Schloss was almost completely burned to the ground by Allied bombings, leaving only the facade standing. It was finally agreed to rebuild it in 1957. The reconstruction was finished in 1964. Today it is used by the state ministries of finance and education, so public tours of the building are only permitted by special arrangement, as the building contains some government offices. Well, the back side of the palace is not closed, so I could manage to walk around the building and have some recordings from this angle. Absolutely beautiful Baroque castle. It was worth to come here. And with these roses, the view is even more beautiful. I captured some very good photos from this angle. This is Opera House. Today's Opera House was built from 1909 to 1912 by architect Max Littmann from Munich, with two halls, Großes Haus and the Kleines Haus, the big house and the small house. After the end of the monarchy in 1918, the theaters were named Württembergische Landestheater. The Kleines Haus, site of the world premiere of the first version of Ariadne of Naxos by Richard Strauss, was destroyed in World War II. This is actually the ballet part of this theater complex. The old palace, in German Altes Schloss, is a former castle located on the Schillerplatz, the Schiller Square. The castle, originally a water castle dating back to the 10th century, was the residence of the counts and later some dukes of Württemberg. Today it is the home of the Landesmuseum Württemberg, the land museum of Württemberg. As I mentioned, we are in the state of Baden-Württemberg now. The castle church still functions as a place of worship. That's the Stiftskirche. I hope we can find it. I didn't see it yet. A water castle is a castle where natural or artificial water is part of its defenses. In the 18th century the moat was filled, that's why we cannot see the moat. In 1931 one of the castle's rooms and 2 towers were destroyed by fire. The castle again saw damage. Large parts of the ethnographic collection of the Landesmuseum Württemberg falling victim to fire during the Second World War before being renovated in 1971. In the Landesmuseum there is an exhibit of Stone Age and Roman artifacts, paintings and recounting of ancient regional history. The inner courtyard of Altes Schloss is also absolutely amazing. Look at those verandas. So very beautiful statue. The statue of Eberhard, Duke of Württemberg. And here's the entrance to the church of the palace, the Stiftskirche. It was built between 1560 1562. Unfortunately it is closed, you cannot go inside. It's really a pity because already the entrance is very beautifully decorated. $15.50, absolutely incredible. Amazing. We are now on the Schillerplatz, also very famous square in the old city center of Stuttgart. And in front of us is the Alte Kanzlei, the old chancellery. You can find many old and beautiful buildings on this square. The square was named in honor of the German poet, philosopher, historian and dramatist Friedrich Schiller. His statue is over there, but now everything is covered with Euro 2024, but I will show you the statue also later from other angle. The street market takes place twice a week on Schillerplatz. Now we have here a street food area because of the European Championship. The square is also used for major events taking place on Marktplatz, Stuttgart's market square, such as the annual Christmas market. In front of us is the Stiftskirche. We'll also visit that one. At the center of the cobblestone square is a memorial to Friedrich Schiller, which was erected in 1839 by the Danish sculptor Bertel Thorvaldsen. Thorvaldsen's statue was the first memorial to Schiller to be erected in Germany. During the Second World War, all buildings around the Schillerplatz were burnt down, but all were reconstructed after the war, with the exception of the King of England Inn, a hotel. In front of us is the Prinzenbau. I don't have any information about it. Probably it's a building of some Prince of Württemberg. Also very beautiful. The Stiftskirche is the main church of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Württemberg, Evangelische Landeskirche in Württemberg, as well as the parish church of the Evangelical Lutheran Inner City Church district of Stuttgart. Recent research found the structures of a small Romanesque church dating to the 10th and 11th centuries within the outline of today's church. In 1240, a stately three-naved church with two towers was built in the Romanic style, apparently by the Counts of Württemberg, who from around that time were residing in the nearby old castle. Several rulers of Württemberg were buried here. Near the end of the World War II, the church was heavily damaged by the bombing raids on Stuttgart in 1944. The church was rebuilt in the 1950s, however, the interior was rebuilt in a more modern style. let's check it out. How does a German market looks like. This is the Markthalle, the market hall of Stuttgart. The market hall was constructed at a cost of 1.85 million gold mark and opened on the 30th January of 1914. With over 400 sales booths, it rapidly developed to a central trading location for the region. Today the market hall is a food market in the upper price segment. It offers a total of 6,800 square meters of usable space for service providers and retailers, including 3,500 square meters on the ground floor for sales stands. The market hall was damaged in the air raids in 1944. Repaired at the end of the war, it was able to resume its function in 1947. In 1993, a fire damaged the interior, necessitating a renovation.
Das ist perfekt. Das milde, oder? Genau, ja.
The Stuttgart Town Hall at Marktplatz 1 is the seat of the Stuttgart city administration. After the old town hall from 1456 and the new town hall from 1905, today's town hall from 1956 is the third building on this site. The new town hall burned down to the walls in the Second World War during the air raids on Stuttgart. Moreover, during the bombings of 1944. The tower with the clockwork and the carillon is 61 meters high. The Marktplatz of Stuttgart is also taken over by the European Championship, as you can see. Well, all squares which I visited until now in Stuttgart have some food stalls, and they are selling beer, of course. There are many benches where you can sit down, and a small fountain, and back there is a small football field. Some kids are playing there, but I didn't want to record them. It's more over a fight, it's not football. So this is the Marktplatz, the market square of Stuttgart. This is the local specialty dish of Stuttgart called Maultaschen. It has a quite fascinating history. It is said to have been created by monks in the Middle Ages who wanted to hide the meat during Lent by wrapping it in a pasta dough. So this pasta dough is filled with meat and vegetables. This is how this Maultaschen is made, and usually they serve potato salad as a side dish for this local specialty. This is the Stuttgart TV tower, in German Fernsehturm Stuttgart. It's a 216.61 meters high telecommunications tower. It was the first telecommunications tower in the world constructed from reinforced concrete, and it is the prototype for many such towers worldwide. Although controversial at first, it quickly became a well-known landmark of Stuttgart and a tourist attraction. The tower is located on the hill Hoher Bobser, an elevation of 483 meters in the southern Stuttgart borough of Degerloch. From the observation decks there's a view of Stuttgart, of course, but the weather is typical German. It's not really sunny, it's cloudy. The tower's construction was criticized by many locals because it was very expensive. The costs were reaching 4.2 million German marks. Revenues from visitors reached the sum within 5 years, so the investment turned back very easily, and after also the locals started to like the TV tower. The tower is still known as Fernsehturm, as a TV tower, but today only broadcasts several public FM radio stations. The tower carries, beside the conventional red air traffic warning lights, 3 rotating xenon lamps similar to those used on lighthouses just above the observation deck. The total weight of the tower is approximately 3,000 tons. And we reached the viewing platform already. Absolutely amazing view of the city. Well, Stuttgart is not very beautiful, people usually say that, but as a tourist I enjoy Stuttgart also. Usually people say that it's not so much to see in Stuttgart, so you cannot really recognize any famous landmarks from here, but well, let's just enjoy the view from the highest point of the city.
dann Stuttgart noch. Schau, der kleine Hügel da. Aha. Schnitzel. Aha, da schaut es da fahre ich dann schon.
This time we'll visit the Schloss Solitude, the Palace of Solitude. Charles Eugene, the Duke of Württemberg, was hunting here many times in this area, because we are now on a hill near Stuttgart, and well, he was desiring a hunting retreat where he can rest after hunting, but later he decided to commission a construction of a larger palace, larger Rococo style palace, and he asked the court architects Johann Friedrich Weiching and Philippe de la Guépie to design the palace, and the construction took place between 1764 and 1769. Well, in the 20th century the building fell into disrepair, unfortunately. During the First World War it was used as a hospital, and 23 soldiers lost their lives at this place, and after the First World War it didn't even have a function, so it was completely abandoned. Only between 1972 and 1983 the government of Baden-Württemberg decided to reconstruct this building, to renovate this building. Well, it was already too late, because the very beautiful frescoes and paintings of this palace already were destroyed by water damage. But well, in this decade, in the 70s, they renovated all the Schloss, all the castle, all the palace. Actually, it's not a castle, it is a palace. So they renovated the palace, and now we can visit it. But you cannot visit the palace on your own. You need to attend a tour. Almost every hour there is a tour, and you need to pay a €6 entrance fee for it, and the tour takes 45 minutes. So this is the only way how we can discover the inner beauty of this palace. This is how we can visit the rooms. So yeah, let's go on this tour and discover all the beauty of Schloss Solitude. Back that time the currency of Württemberg was florin, and the construction cost was around 1 million florins. Unfortunately, it was not allowed to take any photos or videos inside, so I'm really sorry about it. But the rooms were very similar to the rooms of Ludwigsburg Palace. And one more interesting thing which I want to tell you is that from 1764 until 1768, Charles Eugene constructed the Solitude Avenue, a 13-kilometer long road from Solitude Palace to Ludwigsburg, and it's a palace. So I don't know if you can see over there on the horizon, there is a very long road across the city, and that is the road linking this palace to the Ludwigsburg Palace. And I learned that in German the correct pronunciation is Schloss Solitude. It's a French word taken over from the French language into German. It means that the Palace of Loneliness, because in the beginning Charles Eugene intended to have here only hunting retreat where he can enjoy silence and solitude. So this is the reason why the palace is called so. Use of this avenue was reserved for the royal household, so the citizens couldn't use this road. Only the royals traveled from one palace to another one using this new avenue. And it is also interesting that in 1820 the avenue became the standard reference for measuring distance in the kingdom of Württemberg. This is the Feuersee, literally fire lake. It surrounds the Johanneskirche, St. John's Church, on 3 sides, and it was created in 1701 in a triangular shape as a firefighting water pond. That's why it is called Feuersee. When the Johanneskirche was built, the lake was given its current shape. Numerous water turtles live in the lake and were released there and have been multiplying ever since. I saw some fishes and a swan, but the water is very dirty, so I don't know if you can see them. Wow, they are absolutely huge. I saw one gypsy woman feeding them. So nice of her. So the Johanneskirche is under renovation now, so it's not a spectacular view now. The Protestant church of Saint John, in German Johanneskirche, was built in Gothic revival style from 1846 to 1876 by its chief architect Christian Friedrich von Linz. It lies on a peninsula of the Feuersee. After being nearly destroyed in the Second World War, the main church building was reconstructed, but the Gothic walls were replaced with modern ones, and the tower was intentionally left incomplete to serve as a sort of war memorial. Rosenstein Castle, in German Schloss Rosenstein, was designed in the classical style by the architect and the court builder Giovanni Sallucci as the summer palace for King Wilhelm I of Württemberg, and it was built between 1822 and 1830. Today the building houses a part of the State Museum of Natural History Stuttgart, dealing with extant life forms. The museum Rosenstein in Rosenstein Palace focuses on biology and natural history.
Zwischen Deutschland und Ungarn. Ein großen Applaus für die Verantwortlichen und Mitwirkenden der heutigen Zeremonie für ihren großartigen Beitrag zum Erfolg der UEFA Euro 2024. Ohne sie wäre diese Zeremonie nicht möglich.
This time I will present you the Porsche Museum, which has an absolutely amazing exhibition of more than 80 Porsche cars and around 200 objects related to Porsche, the famous car manufacturer of Germany. The museum is absolutely huge. It has a ground floor of 156,000 square meters, and it was constructed between 2003 and 2009 for a construction cost of 100 million euro. The Porsche Museum is also incomparable from the outside. The museum building is supported by 3 V-shaped columns and contains around 6,000 tons of steel, more than the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Absolutely interesting modern building. There was also another Porsche museum back that time in 1976, located on a side road near the Porsche factory. It was a relatively small museum with a little parking space. It was only big enough to hold around 20 exhibits. So work on the concept for a new Porsche museum began in 2003, and the official opening ceremony took place on the 29th January of 2009. It's a Porsche 550A Spider from 1957. It was a really fast car. Could ride 240 kilometers per hour. Porsche 911 2.0 Targa. It is from 1967. It could reach the speed of 210 kilometers per hour. Porsche 911 Carrera RSR. from 1972. It could reach a top speed of 270 kilometers.
Jetzt habe ich ja schon versprochen, Polizeiporsche, dass du dich reinsetzen darfst. Und dann haben wir einen 993 Bildschirm hier. Guck. Der ist von außen jetzt gar nicht aufmachbar, aber ich mache die Tür von der anderen Seite auf. Also, oder ich mache dir die Tür von innen auf. So, jetzt darfst du dich noch reinsetzen. Ist immer gut, wenn man bei einer
echt Mikrofon für oben das Ding, ja, nicht?
Soll mal gut, wenn man vorne ist.
Warte, ich mach mal zu. Dann mach mal ein Foto von dir. Ist bequemer als im Spider? Das ist fortzunehmen.
Vorne sitzen. Vorne sitzen, ich würde jetzt gar nicht sagen. Der war für die Autobahnpolizei. Also die haben mit denen ausgegeben. Reicht eins noch vorne, dass man auf jeden Fall sagen kann, jeder der Laie ist, der jetzt fahren braucht. Nur Profis rauskommen. Ich weiß, das macht eins nur gut. Dann kann keiner sagen, ja, wer weiß. Vielleicht kannst du nur gut. Die Tür musst du jetzt selber entweder aufmachen oder ich helfe dir jetzt. Andere Seite. Ja, aber okay. Selbe tun? Ist ja okay. Mach später auch noch.
sein, dass das funktioniert.
Really? That's fine. It's okay. Smile. Look in the camera, it's fine. Camera here. Super.
Teilweise sind die auch unfahrbar. Ne? Ich bin dann mal gefahren, das macht mir keine Freude. Das ist zum Beispiel den neuen 17, den ich vorhin gezeigt habe. Das Porsche Museum hat, glaube ich, mit 3 Exzentren von Porsche gegengefahren und noch 2 andere auf der Strecke. Die mir ausgehen, dass ich ein bis 5 Fahrrad bin. Absolut nicht, der hat ja nichts. Los, Lenkrad und dann bekreuzst du dich am besten und dann tust du die Ölwanne und gib ihn, ja?
Was die Falle vergessen haben. Er hat unten noch einen Rennwagen zum Beispiel, das ist noch eine Konstruktion verkauft, kein Porsche. Gar nichts zu halten.
Seite ist jetzt keine Tür. Also müsstest du dann sagen, es ist ein niedriger Raum. Dann müsstest du mit deinem Schuh über dieses Auto.
Was denkst du, wie öffnet man den? Hast du eine Vorstellung? Signalfarben.
This time I will show you the Ludwigsburg Palace, which is absolutely huge. It lies on 32 hectares if we consider all the gardens and all the buildings, because this is a palace complex and it consists of 18 buildings. So thus Ludwigsburg is the largest palace estate of Germany. Absolutely amazing Baroque palace. It has 452 rooms, so well, can you imagine living in such a huge palace? I cannot, and I think it would be very hard to clean all these rooms. Well, we'll visit some part of it, because there are some tours which lead across the rooms of the prince, and other tour which leads across the rooms of the princess, because actually it was a palace constructed for Duke Ludwig, This is why it is called Ludwigsburg, which in English means the castle of Louis castle. So actually Eberhard Ludwig was a duke of Württemberg, and he commissioned the construction of this palace in 1704, and the architect was Philipp Joseph Jenisch. First of all, only the palace building behind me was constructed because the duke liked to come here for hunting, so it was actually just a hunting retreat for the duke. In 1707, Philipp Joseph Jenisch was replaced with a new architect, Johann Friedrich Nette, who completed the majority of the Baroque palace and surrounding gardens. Nette died in 1714, and Donato Giuseppe Frisoni finished much of the palace facades. In 1721, the Duke began to run out of room in the Alter Hauptbau, which means the old main building. So the Duke ran out of room in this building for the functions of his court, and Frisoni began planning to enlarge it. The Duke dismissed the idea in 1724 and ordered Frisoni to construct the Neuer Hauptbau, which means the new main building. This is how the palace building in front of us was constructed. The palace has 4 wings. The northern wing, the Alter Hauptbau, is the oldest and was used as a ducal residence, and the east and the west wings were used for court purposes and housing guests and courtiers. The southern wing, the Neuer Hauptbau, was built to house more court functions and was later used as a residence. With the exception of the interiors of the Neuer Hauptbau and Schloss Theater, the castle theater, all works were finished in 1733, but unfortunately Eberhard Louis, the Duke, died the same year. Construction of Ludwigsburg Palace cost the Duchy of Württemberg 3 million florins. It was a very expensive construction. Eberhard Louis left no heirs and was succeeded by Charles Alexander. Charles Alexander ended funding for the palace, dismissed its staff and moved the capital back to Stuttgart. Only his successor, Charles Eugene, declared officially Ludwigsburg Palace his residence in 1746. Charles Eugene's court architect, Philippe de la Guépierre, a Frenchman, completed and refurbished parts of the new Hauptbau in the Rococo style, especially the palace theater. Charlotte, Princess Royal, employed Nicolas Friedrich von Thurey to renovate the palace in the neoclassical style between 1816 and 1824. Charlotte was the last ruler of Württemberg to reside at Ludwigsburg, as Frederick's son and successor, William I, and the future kings of Württemberg did not show any interest in the palace. As a result of each architect's work, Ludwigsburg is a combination of Baroque, Rococo, Neoclassical and Empire style architecture. The palace was opened to the public in 1918 and survived World War II intact. It underwent periods of restoration in the 1950s, 60s and 90s, and again for the palace's 300th anniversary in 2004. That was the last renovation. Let's also go inside and take a look of the rooms. This is the Altes Schloss, the favorite castle, also belonging to Ludwigsburg. By 1710, the Duke Eberhard Louis had decided to use Ludwigsburg as his main residence, but he still desired a hunting retreat. Inspired by garden palace he had seen in Vienna, he tasked Frisoni, the architect, to design a new Rococo palace on a hill to the north of Ludwigsburg. So Schloss Favorite was built from 1717 to 1723. The model was the Garten Palais in Vienna. In 1800, the interior was remodeled by Touré for Frederick I and renovated in the neoclassical style. Only one room in the western half of the building retains its original Baroque appearance. When Frederick was appointed an elector in 1803 and then a king in 1806, he chose both times to celebrate the occasion at Schloss Favorite. Favorite fell into disrepair in the 20th century, but was extensively restored from 1972 to 1982. Now the castle, Schloss Favorite, is state-owned under the control of the state castles and parks of Baden-Württemberg. It is open to the public, included with a guided tour of the main palace, but only if you register in advance. So usually at the Ludwigsburg Palace you can register upon arrival only for a standard tour of Ludwigsburg Castle, and you cannot take a tour also of Schloss Favorite. And I found some information when is the next tour of the castle. It's on the 23rd June, 11 o'clock. Well, this information was not posted on the website when I checked the last time, so probably if you want to visit this castle, then you should call the institute or write them an email, because the tours take place very rarely and only on special dates, so it's better to be informed in advance. This time we visit the Mercedes-Benz Museum. Well, Stuttgart is a cradle of automobiles, because the first automobile was designed here by Karl Benz, and this museum behind me tracks back to that time. So we will visit exhibitions dating back to the 19th century. The first automobiles and the first engines are displayed here. So actually the museum presents us the whole history of Mercedes-Benz from the founding of the company until the present days. So it will be absolutely amazing vlog. Moreover, for the car lovers, we can find here more than 160 cars in this museum, which was opened on the 19th May of 2006. The museum is located next to the factory, to the Daimler factory. Absolutely modern building. And the entrance fee is more expensive compared to the Porsche Museum. As at the Porsche Museum we paid €11 and here is 16, but I think it will be worth, and the museum is also bigger compared to Porsche. The vehicles are maintained by the Mercedes-Benz Classic Center of Fellbach. With history dating back to the 19th century, Daimler is the oldest car manufacturer of the world, and of course is still firmly linked to the Swabian capital, Stuttgart, the birthplace of automobile, often nicknamed as the cradle of automobile. These old automobiles are absolutely fascinating. For example, this one was designed in 1886, Daimler Motor Pucce. Top speed was 18 kilometers per hour. This is where the history of Daimler begins, and later exhibitions we will see how the cars improved over and over the years. with new models and absolutely amazing cars which were designed in the later decades.
deze is ook samen.
Bak git bir de aynı şeyi birazcık arabaya benzer. Tamam.
Arabayı iş yaptığımızda 7.000'e kadar gidiyoruz. 8.000'e düşün yani.
The building's height and double helix interior were designed to maximize the space, providing 16,500 square meters of exhibition space on a footprint of just 4,800 square meters. First of all, we took the elevator upstairs to the beginning of the exhibition, and from there we are walking down to enjoy all the exhibitions in a chronological order. First starting with the very old automobiles and going down, discovering even more new models. Mercedes Simplex 60 PS Rise limousine, a travel limousine from 1904. It could reach the top speed of 80 kilometers per hour. Splendid, absolutely splendid. Mercedes 75 PS Doppel Phaeton, designed in 1908. It could reach a top speed of 95 kilometers per hour. a two-seater Mercedes 10x40 PS sport car from 1923 with a top speed of 110 kilometers per hour. Very beautiful model with this white color. Absolutely luxurious Mercedes-Benz 770 from 1937. It could reach the top speed of 160 kilometers per hour, and I can remember that I saw this car in many Second World War movies. That's also because leaders of the National Socialist Party used this car. Absolutely beautiful.
kell legyen, nem? De én még nem is láttam, hogy direkt erre gyártották, hogy ezt tudom. Igen. Hát ez nagyon komoly.
Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Roadster from 1962. It could reach a top speed of 250 kilometers per hour. So now we are discovering the car models of the 60s. But well, we can say that Mercedes and Daimler always made absolutely beautiful cars. Previously, the museum was housed in a dedicated building within the factory complex, and visitors had in recent decades been transported from the main gate by a secured shuttle. Of course, they were not allowed to roam around the factory grounds, but now since 2006 we have this very huge museum, and you can visit the exhibitions on your own. This is the bus of the football team, the national football team of Germany from the World Cup of 1974. Well, I will not present all cars, all models, of course. I just want to give you a taste about this museum. And some recordings are without commentary. It would take so much time for me to talk about every model, so just enjoy the view, and I really recommend visiting this museum if you are in Stuttgart. Then you can take your time. You can also take some audio guide and have a more detailed information about each model and about the history of Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-AMG GT from 2017. It has a top speed of 300 kilometers per hour.
Ja, komm schnell hinter den anderen her.
Absolutely amazing.
Obviously not like that, but you know.
Wow.
Ja, dann gucke ich mal, vielleicht hätte ich es auch bloß nicht gehört, weil das höre ich nicht. Irgendwie klingelt das Telefon nicht, ich glaube, das ist nicht so, ich höre es immer drauf. Naja, egal.
Test cars which reached also 600 kilometers per hour. So this was the travel film about Stuttgart. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if that's so, please subscribe to my channel if you didn't do it yet. It's very important to push on the bell icon, because this is how you get notified about the new contents. Have a nice day and goodbye.